Information system is the resource that enable the collection, management, control, and dissemination of the information throughout an organization. The database system development life cycle have 11 stages, and here is show flow chart. Database planning is the management activities that allow the stage of the database system development life cycle to be realized as efficiently and effectively to define mission statement, which is a clarify the purpose and provide clearer path towards the efficiency and effective creation of the database. Besides that, identify mission objective, which is each objective identify a particular task that the database must support. System definition is describe the scope and boundaries of database system, who are the current and future user and application areas, and how will the system interface with the other IS in the organization. Besides that, user view define what is a required of database system from the perspective of the particular job role, such as a manager. A user view may be distinct with the other views.
Requirements collection and analysis. The process of collecting and analyzing information and using this information to identifying the requirements for the new system. Fact-finding techniques. There are 5 fact-finding techniques, which is examining documentation, interviewing, observing the enterprise in operation, research and questioning. Under fact-finding techniques, information is gathered for each major user view, includes a description of the data used or generated, the details of how data is to be used or generated, and any additional requirements for the new database system. There are 3 main approaches to managing the database system with multiple user views, which is centralized approach, view integration approach, and combination of both. In centralized approach, the requirements for each user views are merged into a single set of requirements for the new database system. A data model representing all user views is created during the database design stage. While in view integration approach, the requirements for each user views remain as separate lists. Data model representing each user view is created and then merged later during the database design stage.
Database design. Database design is the process that will support the mission statement and objective statement for the required system. There are 4 approaches to database design. First, bottom up. It is begin with the specific details and move up to the general. It is appropriate for simple database with relatively small number of attributes. Second is top-down, which is starts from the general and moves to the specific. It is appropriate for complex database. Next, inside-out. It is identify major entities first and then consider others with those identification. Lastly, mixed strategy. It uses bottom-up and top-down approach for various parts of the model before combining all parts together. Data modeling. Data modeling is process of creating data model to be stored in a database. It will help user in understand the data and to facilitate communication on information needs by visual. Designing data model is fun. However, there is criteria for a good data models, which includes structural validity, its simplicity, which can easily understand by everyone, and it is non-redundancy, and it is shareable. It is extensible, where it can evolve to support new requirement, and it has integrity and expressibility. Phases of data modeling. It consists of 3 phases: conceptual design, logical design, and physical design. Conceptual design is to establish the entities, their attributes, and their relationships. Next is logical design, which is focused on describe the entities and relationships. Lastly, physical design. It is describe the database specific implementation of the data model. Database Management System (DBMS) selection. There are 4 main steps to select the DBMS. First, define terms of reference of study, where state the objective, scope of study, and criteria to be used to evaluate the DBMS product, and list the possible products. Second is shortlist 2 or 3 products. Third, evaluate the products. based on a few features that has been set. And finally, we will create a documentation about the finding when analyzing the right DBMS that the company need and provide statement of recommendation to the particular DBMS product.
The design of user interface divided by two, which is transaction design, user interface design. Transaction design is an action or series of actions carried out by a single user that changes content of database. There are three main types of transaction: retrieval transaction, update transaction, and mix transaction. User interface design. There are few guidelines to consider when build user interface design. Comprehensible instruction. Instructions should be clear, and when more information is needed, help screen should be available. Logical grouping. Related fields should be together on the form. Visually appealing layout of the form should present an attractive interface to the user. Familiar field label should be familiar. Consistent use of color. Improve the appearance of form. Highlight important field or message. Visible space and boundary for data entry field. Should be visually aware of the total amount of space available. Convenient cursor movement. Should easily identify the operation required to move a cursor throughout the form.
Prototyping. What is prototyping? It is a model, and in this situation is a working model of a database. The use of prototype is to developing, testing, and improving an idea or even new ideas to the database system. There are two approaches of prototyping. The first one is requirements prototyping, and the second one is evolutionary prototyping. Both of them use a prototype to determine requirements of a proposed database system. But the difference between both is, for requirements prototyping, once the requirements are complete, the prototype is discarded. While for evolutionary prototyping, once the requirements are complete, the prototype is not discarded. Instead, it is further developed to become a working database system. Implementation. The concept is the same in our life, which is we are used to the word of fix or fixing. We need to fix our wrongdoings. So the same thing of implementation. It is the physical realization of the database and application design. They need to implement specified user views and also the security and integrity control. In order to implement the application programs, they can use the preferred 3GL or third generation language, which is user-friendly and machine-independent. And the example of 3GL is C, C++, Basic, COBOL, and Java. Or 4GL, which is fourth generation language. It reduces programming costs and also time, and it is higher-level programming language. And they can also use DML together with host programming language to implement the database transaction. Data conversion and loading. It is transferring any existing data into the new database and converting any existing application to run on the new database. It only required if the new database is replacing an old system. And to let you understand more about this, let me see it from the computer environment. Just as you know, each computer program handles data in a different manner. Whenever any one of these variables is changed, data must be converted in some ways before it can be used by a different computer, operating system, or program. Even different versions of these elements usually involve different data structures. So there are many ways in which data is converted within the computer environment. And nowadays, it is common for our DBMS to have a utility that loads existing files into the new database. The DBMS stands for Database Management System. It is a software designed to store, retrieve, define, and manage data in a database. Testing. Testing is a method to check whether our database system is matches with the expected requirements. and to ensure that our system is defect-free, also to uncover errors with the application programs and possibly database structure. There are criteria that can be used to conduct evaluations, which are learnability, performance, robustness, recoverability, and adaptability. This evaluation is important to let us know whether our database system is achieve the expected requirements or not. The last one is operation and maintenance. It involves the process of monitoring and maintaining the database system following installation. It is very important to monitor the performance of the system, because if the performance falls below an acceptable level, tuning or reorganization of the database may be required. Maintaining and upgrading the database system when required, and also the monitoring process continues throughout the life of a database system, and in time may lead to reorganization of the database to satisfy the changing requirements.